We have a packed house for the Champs Sports Bowl. A beautiful late afternoon in Orlando, and the color of gold seen plenty in Central Florida. Some of it like that right there, splashed with garnet for Florida State. The rest framed with signature green and a little blue. The Irish have arrived. A tradition-rich matchup between the Seminoles and the Fighting Irish. Both teams looking to cap a year of high expectations with a satisfying win now. Both teams looking to springboard into the future. Yet even with those eyes on all the upside among these two, when you say Notre Dame and Florida State, it's hard to ignore their grand past. From the Florida Citrus Bowl Stadium here in Orlando, memories of an all-time classic back in '93. Notre Dame and Florida State, both hungry and hopeful to continue on their course for a return to glory. Hello, everybody. Glad you're with us. Joe Tessitore alongside Rod Gilmore. We'll say hello to Holly Rowe in just a moment. This is one of the toughest tickets in town, one of the toughest tickets of the bowl season. It was a sellout as soon as they announced the matchup, Rod. And the Champs Bowl feels special because even though these two programs have faltered and were below expectations in recent years, you put them on the field together, it feels like what it should feel like. The defenses were special this year.
Absolutely.
The offenses, some question marks. Let's start with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
We're expected to see two quarterbacks and, of course, a star receiver.
Well, you know, they've had their issues at times, and Tommy Rees, I think, has played, you know, really well. He's won. He's done well. 12-3 as a starter. He's actually played pretty well, completing 66% of his passes. The issue has been protecting the football. In 4 losses this season, 9 turnovers, and that opened the door for Andrew Hendricks in the Stanford game. He came in and played some. And we're going to see Andrew Hendricks tonight. But it almost doesn't matter who the quarterback is when you have Michael Floyd out there. I mean, we're talking about one of the best receivers in college football, likely to be a first-round pick in the upcoming NFL draft. 95 catches this year, over 1,000 yards. He's a matchup problem for Florida State. A couple of small corners that they'll use at times, and they'll be trying to match him up there. That's an issue for Florida State.
As for Florida State and their offense, EJ Manuel, listen, he was one of those dark horse Heisman choices early in the year. They were a trendy national title pick in the preseason.
I had him. Yeah.
Things faltered. Then they came back strong at the end of the year. Now he's healthy, but it's the guys up front that are a concern.
Well, it's a couple things. You know, EJ Manuel is carrying the load now. You know, he's back and they're having trouble up front a little bit, and so he's not just throwing the football, he's running it more. And when you talk about him being a leader, this is his second bowl start for him. He started the Gator Bowl a couple years ago and was the MVP, but he's going to be on the field with 8 freshmen at times, and up front he's got 4 freshman linemen. Both his guards are freshmen making their very first collegiate start tonight. That's an issue.
And as for the Florida State running game, well, Holly joins us with more. Hello, Holly.
Hey guys, well, Florida State has trouble running the ball all season long. They're averaging just over 3 yards per carry, and it isn't going to get easier tonight. Like you said, 4 freshmen up front, but they're without their second best running back. Jermaine Thomas is academically ineligible and won't play. So the load falls on, yes, another freshman, Devontae Freeman, a 5'8" freshman. Talked to him before the game, and he said it's his first bowl game. He just wants to go out and have fun. But good news for the Seminoles, their experienced wide receiver, Burt Reed, a senior, will play tonight. He's been battling a hamstring. He's wearing tight compression stockings, and guys, with his 169 career receptions, boy, do they need his experience.
Reed's a good one, number 83. Here's Jimbo Fisher. Both head coaches in their second year. He's a recruiting star. Put together a great class a year ago, working on another one this year for the Noles. Notre Dame's Brian Kelly told us his approach to this game, well, it starts with winning, but he says you have to have an eye towards the future, and he feels it's a bright one considering some of the talent in the front 7 defensively. Brings it a kickoff for Notre Dame. Florida State back deep, and this will be taking a knee, Rashad Green, for the touchback. There's EJ Manuel, 6'5", 245-pound junior, currently #1 in Florida State history with a career completion percentage of over 66%.
Really talented, really talented. Big, strong quarterback. And when they've gone to using him in the running attack, it's really changed their offense a bit. They almost had to because of all the things Holly talked about, Jermaine Thomas and the youth up front for them. Now this big quarterback, he can run the football.
Remember, he was injured in that showdown game back on September 17th against Oklahoma. Play action to start. He's going to go for it, cranks it up downfield, but it was overthrown and to the right for Rodney Smith. Rod, let's talk about how Florida State has arrived to this point.
Well, you think about their 8-4 record. You have to go back to that Oklahoma game, which was really kind of that defining moment. #1 against Florida State. They lost that game, then lost 3 straight. Won 6 of their last 7 until they ran into a hot Virginia team that shut them down.
Finish things up with a win at Florida. Ugly offensive game that victory was. They run option to the near side, and Manuel scoots ahead for a gain of about 8. It'll make for a 3rd and short.
That's the change. You know, and a lot of people were surprised when Florida State used Manuel in the rushing attack because he had that injury, and you figured when he came back they wouldn't run him so much. Well, they went right to it, and they're showing you tonight they believe in it.
Lonnie Pryor, the fullback, in front of Devontae Freeman here. Play clock running down here on 3rd and 8. Manuel. And he's able to get it out there, but it's incomplete. That was intended for Christian Green, but R.J. Blanton did a nice job defensively.
Yeah, he had to wait on that ball a little bit, but Blanton did a great job of fighting all the way through the end of the play. He's in man coverage. Now watch Blanton fight through this. He does not give up when he's beaten. He hangs in there, and he gets the ball out. That is great play. That is not giving up, even though you know the guy has the ball there. That's a great job.
So Sean Powell led the nation in overall punting, and net punting comes out. And Michael Floyd, the return man for the Irish. And a big boot by Powell backs up Floyd to the 22. Able to get free. Block in front, and Floyd past midfield. Michael Floyd with a fine return to set up the Irish. It was Sean Powell, the punter, who had to bring him down.
Michael Floyd showing that he's got skills other than just as a straight inline receiver. He's got some shiftiness to him as he makes the first guy miss. And I don't know that we've seen Michael Floyd back there returning punts like that. Certainly not this season.
So here's Tommy Reese with prime field position. Was named the starter for the bowl after being pulled in that season finale at Stanford. Sierra Wood, his first carry, and he is wrapped up at the 33 by Terrence Parks. So Tommy Reese, as much as we talk about the fact that we're going to see 2 quarterbacks and some of his struggles, 12-3 as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, he's won. You know, his detractors will point to the losses and his inability to handle the ball in critical situations as you take a look at Hendricks, who is really a prospect, very physically gifted.
2nd and 6. And that is complete for a first down to the senior Floyd. So Notre Dame 8-4. They bounced back after those 2 losses early.
Played well until they ran into a USC team and had a critical turnover as they were going in for what could have been a game-changing score, and then finished up with Stanford, fell behind 21-0 before mounting a comeback.
First down at the 25, the pitch to Wood. And Wood gets to the 21-yard line. And that's where he was met by Vince Williams, the middle linebacker for Florida State.
Well, you watched the Notre Dame offense all season, and you can't help but come away thinking if they take care of the football a little bit better, they'll be okay. You know, they've got a couple big playmakers in Eifert and Floyd.
Empty backfield for Tommy Reese. Over the middle, does get it complete to the 10-yard line, and he was able to find his star tight end Eifert.
You have to keep Tommy Reese clean if you're going to throw the football. They bring only 4, and Notre Dame's able to pick him up and give him a throwing lane.
So now now Wood in the backfield for 3rd and 1. As Reese talked things over quickly. Here is Wood looking for that yard line to make, and he was stacked up. It's going to be very close. That was Anthony McLeod who made the tackle on Sierra Wood.
A pretty good job by the left side of that offensive line. They want to get behind number 70, Martin, who's their best lineman. Does a terrific job on the edge out there, creating some space for Sierra Wood.
And it is a 1st down, so a 1st and goal for Brian Kelly's offense. See the success they've had on opening possessions. Reese with time, batted and intercepted. LaMarcus Joyner, and once again the costly turnovers for Notre Dame in the red zone. Nigel Bredham batted it up in the air. LaMarcus Joyner in the right place at the right time. Florida State ball when we come back. Scoreless here in the Champs Sports Bowl. That Florida State defense did it again. LaMarcus Joyner.
Let's go back to this touchdown pass. Man coverage, that's what Tommy Rees thinks he sees right there. So he wants to get the ball to Floyd, thinks he has that. In fact, what he's got is zone coverage by the linebackers inside. He gets fooled by it, doesn't get to it. He gets picked off. Great call by defensive coordinator Mark Stoops to confuse Reese down there.
It's been a sensational year by the Florida State defense. And meanwhile, Notre Dame all too conditioned to turnovers in the red zone. This is Freeman now. He loses the ball. It is scooped up by Mata, who returns it for the score. Manti Teo forced the fumble, and Zeke was the streak right to the goal line.
Yeah, Teo is out in single coverage. He does a good job of coming out and making the tackle, and that's a freshman just giving up the ball, and Zeke Mata is able to just walk into the end zone for the first points of the night.
And David Ruffer with the extra point. So dueling turnovers early, but 7 on the board for the Irish. Rashad Green deep, set to return Kyle Brinza's kickoff. And here is Green from the end zone. And he gets it out to the 23. Here's James Wilder now, and Wilder, the 6'2", 230-pounder, big-time recruit, goes ahead for about 2.5 yards. Of course, they found the solution to turnovers in the red zone, and that's get one of your own and bring it back for a score.
A little bit easier for that defense to waltz into the end zone instead of the offense trying to figure it out, I guess.
Manti Teo, who announced that he's coming back for his senior year, forcing the fumble moments ago. All-American linebacker for the Irish. Wilder now in motion on 2nd and 7. EJ Manuel. Pressure on Manuel, and he goes down. That was Jamoris Slaughter, who defensive coordinator Bob Diaco has big plans for tonight, Rod.
Yeah, Slaughter has moved down from that safety spot to the outside linebacker spot. You see him there in the frame, and watch what he does to Pryor. He just destroys him. He just destroys Pryor, who's supposed to be on blitz pickup, and nails Manuel. That's a big-time play.
Just tossed him aside and then got after EJ Manuel.
That's violent. Whoa.
Pressure up the middle again, and he goes down again. Teo right after him.
Up the middle, right? We talked about that young offensive line. 2 freshmen playing at the guard position. Left guard and right guard, and Teo and Lynch get in there. Here comes Teo right there. You'll see him run on a stunt with Lynch, and they just destroy the interior of that line where you've got 3 freshmen, 2 guards and a center.
So Powell now back at the 1-yard line to punt as Michael Floyd stands ready near the 30. And he gets the fair catch at the 36, regretting that he did. He thought he had some green space in front of him.
Well, you know, Michael Floyd, that's his 2nd punt return of the season. They had 3 yards of returns this season, but Manti Teo, he knows how to get things done as their defense is stepping up big time already against Florida State.
And Sports Bowl pep rallies for both schools were yesterday afternoon at Points, Orlando. It's been a fabulous week of anticipation for this game with these 2 programs meeting up here in Orlando. Notre Dame defense, they were getting after EJ Manuel. Andrew Hendricks now getting his turn at quarterback. Sierra Wood, and Wood is chased down just over the 40-yard line by Joyner. Check in with Holly.
Well, I listened to Florida State coach Jimbo Fisher talk to his young offensive line as they're sitting over here on the sideline. One of the problems, guys, is communication. He's saying you've got to decide who's taking who. They were talking about Jose Matias not taking the right guy. Number 5, Manti Teo, coming through the line. Is right now it's just as simple as identifying who's taking who and communicating it to your teammate.
Back to basics, Holly, here in a bowl game.
Yep, that's what happens with youngsters on the field. A lot of stuff going on.
And speaking of youngsters, here's the redshirt freshman Hendricks now to pass on 2nd and 7. And he puts it up, and it's incomplete just off the hands of TJ Jones, who was covered well by Mike Harris.
Yeah, nice play by Harris, but I was really impressed with the fact that they turned Hendricks loose. Normally he's in there to run the football. Kelly said he'd have the full package, and look at him going deep down the field with him right off the bat. Hendricks, powerful arm, 220 pounds, more athletic than Reese. He can run it, he can throw it. He's inexperienced out of Moeller High School. That's been a factory for high school football.
3rd and 7 now. Sierra Wood in the backfield with Hendricks. And this is complete right down the seam to Eifert. And he was down at the 44-yard line after taking that hit. But what a target is Tyler Eifert, who led the nation receptions for a tight end.
Yeah, he gets a free release, but he gets pounded here. And look at the shot that Joyner delivers on him. And Eifert goes right to the sideline.
Saw that knee hit the ground.
Yeah, but the whistles have to come faster, you know what I mean? You don't want a guy getting another hit.
Wood just gobbled up and cut down in the backfield that time by Telvin Smith.
Athletic, fast defense. Telvin Smith is one of those incredibly athletic linebackers. There he is. Watch him come knifing through. Anticipation of the snap count. Great quickness and speed.
How about Mark Stoops, where he told us about Smith? He said he just has weird athletic ability. He's got that wiggle and those natural instincts. Perfect example of it there. 2nd and 15. Hendricks right into the ground in front of the feet of Michael Floyd.
Yeah, well, he can thank Brian Kelly for that one, because Brian Kelly said all week, you know what? If I were Florida State, I'd blitz Hendricks. Stanford did it and affected him. And guess what Florida State did that time? They blitzed him.
Remember, Stanford brought so much pressure against Hendricks, and it was a different story, the success he had when he had time compared to the pressure that the Cardinal defense brought against him. Let's see if they get after him here on 3rd and 15.
He's got to be careful. You don't want to take sacks around here. You have the potential for a 4th down play or a field goal.
Hendricks gets it out to Toma, and he is wrapped up just short of the 30-yard line. That was Greg Reed, who came in and tackled Robbie Toma.
This defense flies around, and they're actually pitching a shutout. It's the Florida State offense that gave up the touchdown on a fumble recovery taken in for the score by Zeke Mata.
Career long of 52 for David Ruffer. This from 47. Officially a 48, they're listing it as. And it was off to the right. The former walk-on who is in the midst of a consistent season puts it off to the right here in the final seconds of this first quarter.
Well, Brian Kelly had the right call on third down to give them a shot at coming away with some points instead of being pushed back out of field position, and they just pushed it off.
Pitch to Freeman. Remember, he fumbled earlier. Picks up a good block from the receiver. A flag comes in late. Maybe too good.
For speed.
There is no foul on the play. The block in question was legal. Result of the first down.
Good explanation by Reggie Smith and our Big 12 crew tonight. So just a second left in the first quarter. A quarter with so many offensive struggles for Florida State. Only 18 yards of offense for the Noles. The fumble return for the Irish. They lead it 7-0. 7-0 Irish here in Orlando. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, Holly Rowe with you from a sold-out Citrus Bowl stadium. For Manuel now. And he gets it complete to Kenny Shaw, who's from right here in Orlando.
The Florida State fans are wondering when the offense is going to come around. They're coming off that Florida game where the offense had 95 total yards.
Won that game 21-7.
There's Michael Floyd on the sideline. He's been thrown to 4 times tonight, only 1 reception. Brian Kelly can't be happy with that.
Option to the near side, and Manuel just about 1.5 yards that time. Manti Teo with the tackle. Junior from Hawaii, who was projected to be a first-round NFL draft pick, but has announced that he will come back for his senior year at Notre Dame.
That's really cool. I think that when Andrew Luck decided last year that being the top pick in the draft was not more important than coming back and getting his degree, I think it made it cool and okay for other guys to do it now.
Matt Barkley at USC.
Yep.
I'll wait to see what happens with the Heisman winner, Robert Griffin III, who you will see later tonight in the Valero Alamo Bowl. Pressure again, this time Lonnie Pryor was able to get that ball, and he gets it to the 40-yard line. But EJ Manuel's just hoping for the best sometimes when he drops back.
Well, you know, I'm sure he says to the lineman, hey, guys, you know, on a screen pass, yeah, we're supposed to let them in, but not that fast. Now watch, really, the pressure. Mata comes in. It's a blitz from the outside. They're running the screen to the opposite side. Manuel takes it to the very last second, and Lonnie Pryor does enough to get them a respectable 3rd down. Might be manageable. So you see one more hit by Mata on Manuel.
Going to be a long night for EJ Manuel, having to keep getting up, even if you do make some of these completions. 3rd and 4. Lofts it to the near side, and he had Kenny Shaw.
Well, but Manuel's jittery. You know, he's not getting his feet set back there. He's not confident in his protection, and therefore his accuracy is off. And he's got his guy out there in Shaw, but watch him in the pocket. Watch his footwork. He's not comfortable. He doesn't really step into the throw, and he doesn't do a good job of it. Jackson on the coverage out there, but Manuel's got to throw that ball better. But he has no confidence in his protection right now.
And they're going to fake it. The up back. Right at that line to make. It'll depend on the mark. It was Chad Abram, who's a backup fullback, on the fake punt.
There you see our first down marker, which is generally accurate.
But unofficial.
Yep.
Chad Abrams, who played safety and then came over to the offensive side of the ball for Jimbo Fisher on special teams on a 4th and 4. We'll see if he got it.
Nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. You're 8-4. This is your bowl game. You've had a few weeks off. Nothing wrong with taking the gamble.
He's short by a couple of lengths. Notre Dame is going to take over when we return. The trickery didn't work. So Notre Dame takes over after Florida State came up just a few inches short on the fake punt attempt by Chad Abrams. Reese, pressure came. He was able to secure that ball right at the end as he was in the grasp of Bjorn Werner, the big guy from Germany. His 7th sack of the season.
He does a great job here. Warner coming around the edge to get there. You'll see him to the right side, but you've got to get rid of the football too. He steps up a little bit, but Reese has got to be aware of when that's got to happen. He's got to get rid of it, but it's too late, and he almost lost that football.
2nd and 14 now. Reese overthrew Toma. Holly, what more can you tell us about Everett Golson?
Well, I know that if he's half as talented playing football as he is playing the piano, that Notre Dame fans will be very happy. He's been playing piano since he was about 5 years old, guys. He plays multiple instruments, and listen to this. He played about 5 different songs, Christmas carols. And then he got up and danced, guys, so his feet are just as good as those hands.
See if he's dancing out in the field next year. 3rd and 14. Reese, quick strike, but Floyd is wrapped up back at the original line of scrimmage by Xavier Rhodes.
Right now, Rhodes has won that matchup. He's done the better job in his matchup with Floyd. And Floyd dropped one that he should have had, but Rhodes, by and large, has done a good job being physical and making tackles. He's got a lot of cushion here because he knows the first down marker is far, far, far down the field. That's a good tackle.
So they're going to let the clock run down. Gives us a chance to look at tonight's quarterback spotlight, brought to you by Dove Men Plus Care.
Yeah, different time, but you just look at the numbers and you go, wow, done as well as Montana and Joe Theismann. But you have to remember, back then, the football was thrown way down the field. There was none of this high percentage passing.
We've seen Reese and Andrew Hendricks tonight. Here's Holly.
Hey, Coach Fisher, I know you can't turn them into sophomores for the second half, but what can you do with your guys up front to get some better protection?
At the end of the middle of the second quarter, they started getting their feet on the ground and getting their calls, and the nervousness came out. Early, they turned some guys loose, and we had some plays to make. But, you know, but that's part of it. We kind of knew that going in. Now, I was pleased in the middle of the second quarter. We got better protection, did a couple little things. They jumped off sides one time. We got to cure that. But just relax, play a good second half. We started moving the ball, so we just got to go back to it and get a couple scores here in the second half.
And then I know he's under pressure, but what can EJ do a little bit better? He's been a little rattled.
He's actually thrown the ball well. He made a mistake or two with the pressure. Sometimes it's not just say, I'm going to throw it away. I got pressure. Just go ahead and get rid of it. But we got to get a little bit of running game going to help because we're hitting some passes. And if we get that going, we'll be all right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Sacked 4 times was EJ Manuel, Florida State's quarterback. Zach Mota, the 29-yard fumble return for a touchdown, the only score we've had. Now let's join Ryan Burr back in the studio for the H&R Block halftime report. We welcome you back to the Champs Sports Bowl, part of ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week. A fumble return for a touchdown, the difference on the scoreboard. Florida State and Notre Dame, historically tradition-rich matchup, but offensively challenged indeed tonight, Rod.
Yeah, if you love offense, look away. It was a little bit ugly out there, really for both sides. You think about Florida State and the pressure that EJ Manuel was under. Notre Dame got after him right at the start and never, ever let up. Manti Teo was one of the guys to get into it, gets in there with a late hit, but that was emblematic of what was going on. But the Notre Dame offense struggled. They had less than 100 yards in the first half, and they really couldn't get the ball to Michael Floyd. I mean, Floyd had a chance early on, got deep, but dropped the ball. Only 3 catches for 23 yards from Michael Floyd. So offensively, both these teams have really been challenged. You look at the possessions, they almost match that with punts, limited first downs, total yards. Are you kidding me?
Florida State was 0 for 7 on third down conversions. Didn't have a red zone scoring chance. Notre Dame had 1. There was an interception in the end zone. Great atmosphere, though, here at the Citrus Bowl Stadium. A sellout. A lot of memories going back to what happened in 1993. 2 programs looking to take a step forward with high hopes in the coming years. Notre Dame getting the ball to start things off. George Atkinson III, the freshman speedster. Watch out for Atkinson. Just tripped up, though, beyond the 35-yard line. He did have 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns this year. That was Telvin Smith who saved the day on special teams for Florida State. Holly?
Well, I caught up with Notre Dame coach Brian Kelly at the half and asked him how he evaluated his quarterback play in the first half, so what we could expect in the second. He said, you know, it wasn't a matter of evaluating them because we had some key mistakes. 2 drops on very critical plays, a turnover in the red zone off a deflection, a missed opportunity on a field goal, or they'd be sitting pretty good against a very good Florida State team. So it's not about the quarterback play. He said our big players have got to start making plays, particularly Michael Floyd.
Well, here is Wood, and Wood to the 42. Holly mentioned the drop passes, shockingly won by Michael Floyd, which would have been a big gainer if not a touchdown downfield.
Well, when you look at the Notre Dame offense, the 2 guys that jump out are Floyd and Eifert. And those are the guys that have to get it done when you don't have much of a rushing attack. And you see 3 receptions, 23 yards, and that drop was a touchdown. That was a bomb.
Floyd, a guy who scouts in, gives a grade of 89-2, looking at a bottom of the first round kind of draft pick, the senior from Notre Dame. 2nd and 6, Reese with time, looking over his options, and then does throw it away.
Well, and you mentioned Reese.
Flag came in late there at the very end. By the way, Greg Reed, the defensive back, that ball was thrown well to the outside, and he did come in and make contact with the receiver.
Although the pass was thrown out of bounds, personal foul, defense, number 5, unnecessary roughness, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, it's right here. And that's what you need to see. Ball thrown away, and there you see big hit on Toma up high.
So a first down now, and he looks Floyd's way, and that is incomplete.
That's a big hit by Joyner.
Joyner and Rhodes both getting in there.
And you see he and Floyd both go down over there. And that's Joyner coming over with the big hit.
And that is one of the key matchups that both teams have been focused in on in preparation for this game. The 6'2", 211-pound cornerback against the big 6'3", 224 wide receiver. 2nd and 10. They are able to get it to Wood, and he is chopped down about 2 yards short of the line to make. Taken down just inside the 37. Michael Floyd comes back out on the field here for this 3rd down.
And where's the rushing attack? 26 yards in the first half by Notre Dame. Now, this is no man's territory. You can actually think in terms of 2 plays down here if you're Brian Kelly.
There's Harris up against Floyd now with Xavier Rhodes out. Reese to pass on 3rd and 3, and here is Michael Floyd. And a first down for the Irish to the 22. So they go right back to Floyd when he's matched up against the 5'11" Mike Harris.
Mike Harris on the stop for the Seminoles.
And now Andrew Hendricks comes into the game.
Well, look, there's nobody back here. They come with pressure. They leave it open. They run the crossing route. because there's nothing in the middle. They know that everyone is chasing in man coverage, and it's best to run crossing routes when you have that.
So Hendricks comes in, and he sprints to the near side, tucks and runs, and does well with a 9-yard gain. Good block by Tyler Eifert, his tight end.
Well, that gives Notre Dame some form of a rushing attack. But Eifert does a nice job of blocking out there, you know, and that's one of the knocks on Eifert, is that he's a receiving tight end, but not a good blocker. That's why he's considered only a 3rd or 4th round pick.
2nd and 1. Hendricks again, and a first down for the Irish. Hendricks, a good runner. Redshirt freshman from Cincinnati. Had a 78-yard run in his Irish debut against Air Force. That was back on October 8th.
Remember, Tess, we talk about it all season long. You have to get touchdowns in the red zone. You want to be somewhere around 80%. Notre Dame coming into this ball game 68%, and they turned it over in the red zone their first time they got down there tonight.
Hendricks with another quarterback run, and this time he's able to get down to the 5-yard line.
And that's the halftime adjustment. The rushing attack with quarterback design runs with Hendricks. But now you come back with Reese. But now it's that zone read, a staple of Brian Kelly's spread offense. He wants to use the quarterback. He wants a running quarterback.
So a little change of pace with Hendricks. And they're down to the 5-yard line as Reese is back in. Looking for the fade to Floyd. Bobbled and caught for the touchdown. Michael Floyd stayed with it the whole way. Focused on the ball and finally secured it. Touchdown, Irish.
Now you notice we've got a 5'8" corner against 6'3" Floyd. Who's going to win that battle? He goes up and attacks the ball and takes it away from Reed. Rhodes is out of the ball game. Rhodes is the big corner who was able to play Floyd. Reed can't compete with that. Floyd just takes it away from him.
Well, I don't like the way that Greg Reed hit the back of his head when he came down at the end of that play, Rod. He was flipped over. Watch the back of his neck and his head going all the way up and crashing to the ground.
Well, he tried to get up there with Floyd, and Floyd's strength in taking the ball away from him turned Reed. Look how strong Floyd is. As he pulls the ball, he turns Reed, and Reed falls on the back of his neck and head.
And that was scary right there. So the Irish take a 14-0 lead. Great concentration by the senior Michael Floyd. 100th catch of his season, and it's a beauty. Star receiver for the Bears as the star receiver for the Irish just gave them a 14-0 lead. LaMarcus Joyner now. And Joyner, good return for Joyner. Can he get to the edge? Inside the 30 and finally taken down. Just what the Seminoles needed.
A change of direction. That run looked like it was designed to go to the right side, and Joyner reverses field. Watch, it's set up to go to the right side, and he says, and then trust your speed. Use your speed to outrun Notre Dame. That's what they preach all week long. Don't cut and make moves. Just trust your speed.
77-yard kickoff return. Manuel. And he gets it to James Wilder, a freshman running back. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, things are getting dicey for the Florida State secondary. I heard Greg Reed just tell one of his teammates he has no idea how he got hurt. He doesn't remember. It looks like he will not be able to return. The problem is his backup, Avis Comack, did not make the trip after an arrest for an alleged theft. So, guys, they are thin at cornerback. Xavier Rhodes is also out for the game with a sprained knee. So the possibilities are to move the strong safety Terrence Park over. We might see a freshman, Nick Wasom.
But now it's the offense looking for something wilder on the carry. It'll be 3rd and short, but the struggles on defense. Reed and Xavier Rhodes injured. There's Xavier Rhodes. You see them putting the ice pack on the left knee. He was matched up with Michael Floyd. Yeah. Floyd scored the touchdown going up against the 5'8" Greg Reed, who now was knocked out.
Yeah, well, he was winning against Michael Floyd. He was winning that matchup in the first half. So now Florida State defensively a real issue. But right now they got a big 3rd down in the red zone. A chance to get points and get back in the ball game.
3rd and 3 for EJ Manuel. Kickoff return set them up, but can they take advantage? Pressure again. And he is wrapped up again. Aaron Lynch, the Florida native, the long, lean freshman who has such a bright future, draped all over EJ Manuel that time.
And he's part of that defensive line that has a chance to be pretty special. You'll see pressure coming just about inside and out there. They do a nice job of being relentless. Lynch, athletic, doesn't give Manuel a chance to throw the ball away.
Dustin Hopkins has an explosive leg. He's 5 for 6. Over 40 to 49 this year. And he just squeezes it in. So the 77-yard kickoff return results in 3 points for the Noles. Joe Tessitore alongside Rod Gilmore and Holly Rowe. It's been a tough night for the Florida State offense. Notre Dame leading 14-3. Florida State just got on the board with a field goal. But we'll see what they do defensively here as they had their 2 top cornerbacks injured on that last drive.
Well, Notre Dame a chance to get George Atkinson III the ball again on this kick return, and he's got real track speed.
Sure does. Almost broke the last time he touched it. This time he's wrapped up just short of the 20. Theo Riddick with a good run to the far side, and another first down for Notre Dame. Tommy Reese, inside handoff, and once again a good hard run by Theo Riddick.
That's the first sign of a rushing attack by Notre Dame other than the quarterback. He had 26 yards in the first half rushing. Good blocking up front in the middle of there. How about Mike Golick Jr. at the center spot, doing a little double team and then coming off and getting the linebacker. Nice blocking. His dad will be proud.
Number 57, Golick Jr., who came in midseason to replace the injured starter Braxton Cave, who's out for the year. Golick Jr.'s done a good job. Helping pave the way for this running game here on this drive. Sierra Wood now joins Reese in the backfield, and he gets the call. And another first down as Wood crosses the 40 down to the 39 of Florida State. There's Dad.
Jake and Mike on the team. Jake had a little surgery the other day. He'll be back at the spring practice, but right now it's brother Mike who's doing a good job at the center spot as they pull guards and do a little double team blocking with Mike Golick Jr.
He's got 311 pounds of Anthony McLeod standing opposite him. Wood now, and Wood to the 36, tackled by Nigel Bradham.
You know, and it's important for Brian Kelly to go to the running game now, try and shorten the game some. His defense is playing great. He's got that sense of, you know, if we can put more pressure on Florida State, take some time off the clock, run it inside, it'll only make them more desperate when they get the ball.
They run on 2nd and 7, stacked up right away, and then eventually sent back as Vince Williams tore him down. Anthony McLeod was the first to get there. clogging up that middle.
That defense is really good. They're really good against the run. Number 2 in the country coming in. Surprisingly, they did not place anyone on the first team All-ACC team, even though they led the conference in defense. Look at the way they clog things up in the middle. Good attacking by Vince Williams, the linebacking spot.
By the way, the safety LaMarcus Joyner is now matched up with Michael Floyd because of the injuries to Greg Reed and Xavier Rose. So watch for that matchup. Floyd to the top side of your screen on 3rd and 7. Pressure comes and they get to him. Brandon Jenkins, the pass rushing terror, able to find Tommy Reese, and that was a big stand for the Florida State defense. They needed a stop there.
Yeah, Jenkins gets a lot of attention. Normally they slide protection towards him, move the offensive line to make him ineffective. They had a twist on that, allowed him to get away from the outside and come inside, and watch him show up right there. He's too quick for most linemen, particularly if he has a little bit of space.
So Ben Turk comes on the punt. Rashad Green putting those heels on the 10-yard line. And a fair catch just beyond the 15. Florida State will be back on offense, trailing by 11 here in Orlando. Folks at Champ Sports should be thrilled. 68,305, a complete sellout here. Wow. At the Citrus Bowl Stadium. You know, this bowl's really grown, one of the top tier bowls in terms of payouts, $4.45 million.
Well, the whole week's great. It's a fantastic bowl, fantastic place to be.
Florida State need a little spark on offense and unable to find it with Burt Reed, the senior receiver who pulled his hamstring during bowl practice back on December 12th. He was questionable to even play tonight.
Well, yeah, they're struggling offensively. 96 total yards on offense. They have more yards on their special teams and return yardage than total offense. 119.
That's unbelievable.
119 in special return yards, only 96 from the line of scrimmage.
Wow.
5 sacks, 5 first downs.
EJ Manuel trying to change that. They go with the screen, able to connect. One little move by Green, and then he is tackled at the 21 by Jamoris Slaughter. Total yards that Rod referred to. Offense unable to get anything going. Look at the season compared to tonight. Not as if the season numbers were anything special.
Well, remember Florida, 95 yards, 21 points. A lot of that set up or scored by the defense. And remember, Virginia shut them down as well.
Yeah, they only scored 13 in that loss to Virginia back on November 19th. Had that 5-game win streak prior to that. Now a 3rd and 5. Irish bring 4. Manuel lofts it downfield, outstretched and secured by Rashad Green. How about that?
That's a freshman stepping up to make so far the biggest offensive play for Florida State. Look at him lay out. He beat Gary Gray off the line of scrimmage in the man coverage. Notre Dame doesn't normally play man, but they got it that time. And Green was able to get behind him.
He is a future star.
Oh, yeah.
Missed 4 games this season with an injury, sprained his ankle. That was on a day when he was in the midst of a 12-catch, 163-yard effort. Manuel, once again complete. Devontae Freeman, his running back, just taking what they give him there at the 29-yard line.
Well, that's got to end. If you're Notre Dame, you're thinking, okay, we got to bring more than 3. We've been beating up the quarterback all night long. Where's the pressure? Bring the pressure.
Final minute of the 3rd quarter here. 2nd and 5. They only bring 3 again. Manuel's going to step up and run. A stiff arm and a first down.
Confidence. This group is gaining confidence. Watch the play. Watch the stiff arm. Right there. Get off me. When you're 6'5" and 240, you can take Calabrese and say, you're not tackling me today, pal.
Can he find running room again? This time he was taken down hard at the 18-yard line by Gary Gray, the cornerback.
EJ Manuel and keeper. Tackle made by number
Putting
4,
it on
Gray.
Manuel's shoulders, or on his feet, as the clock winds down. They've turned to him and his feet and his arm in the third quarter.
All of a sudden, a little life from Florida State. The Noles on the move. Beautiful scene from nearby Walt Disney World in the Magic Kingdom. 14-3 Irish. Champs Sports Bowl getting interesting here as we get a little deeper. Florida State knocking on the door now. 14-3, and they're driving inside the 20. Start of the fourth. 2nd and 7.
Manuel sees the pressure. He sees that Notre Dame is showing blitz.
Been sacked 5 times tonight. They pick up the pressure. He launches to the end zone, and that is caught for a touchdown. Burt Reed. And you see R.J. Blanton saying, hey, I got the ball, but it's a little late because Burt Reed brought it down.
When you get the blitz, you get a lot of man coverage on the back end. You see Reed clearly comes down with that ball inbounds, and it's not until they're out of bounds that Blanton takes it away. Great look right here. Catch, foot inside, inbounds, possession, and now that's the takeaway.
Tremendous athletic effort by Burt Reed.
Yeah, great throw. He's keeping the offense on the field. Looks like he's going for 2 here. Clearly, Jimbo Fisher is thinking they're going to be limited possessions and points will be really hard to come by. And he wants to get within a field goal right now. I don't think you need to do it. He got so much time left, but I don't mind.
Trying to close to within 3, going for 2.
Not a huge downside.
Reed is in the slot to the near side. Freeman in the backfield with EJ Manuel to the end zone, and that is incomplete. He was trying to go to the tight end, Nick O'Leary. Golf legend Jack Nicklaus's grandson was the target there. What a play by Burt Reed. We got ourselves a ball game in Orlando. EJ Manuel, well earned to close this game to 5. He had 81 of Florida State's 84 yards on their scoring drive, connecting with Burt Reed at the end. This place has come alive, a sellout of over 68,000. George Atkinson III, the freshman, and he is taken down by a hard-charging special teams unit just past the 15-yard line. Tommy Reese. Play clock running down. Both teams have struggled with that tonight. Little counter with Sierra Wood, and Wood gets the corner, and a great burst of speed before he is forced out by Brown.
He's the 10th player in Notre Dame history to rush for 1,000 yards. He's had 3 career multiple rushing touchdown games. Uses his quickness to get to the outside. Did a nice little job of losing a little weight to become quicker and a bit more elusive this season.
And now Andrew Hendricks comes in at quarterback. We saw this earlier tonight in the midst of a drive. Hendricks came in and was very successful with the quarterback runs.
He's in to throw the ball, though. In this formation, I think he's in there to throw it.
They go 3 receivers, and indeed he sets up that way before looking to make the decision, and then that was a flutter ball out of the bounds, looking for Robbie Tomo.
Yeah, when they come out and they put Floyd in that 3-receiver formation where he is the inside guy, that's trips to the left side. He's looking for Floyd. They're trying to get the matchup with a safety or linebacker, and in this case, they had Christian Jones, who's 240 pounds. They want that matchup, and that's why Hendricks is looking to Floyd there.
Keep in mind, Florida State defensive backfield. Xavier Rhodes injured. He was the big matchup with Floyd. Greg Reed was knocked out of the game. 2nd and 10. Hendricks looking to set up, and that is intercepted. Florida State's Nigel Brenham with the pickoff and muscling his way inside the 20-yard line.
Here's Bradham right here. He's going to move on out right into the throwing lane. Hendricks never sees him. All he sees is he's got his tight end Eifert there. He expects, I assume, him to come inside, and he throws it right to Bradham. Never, ever thought the linebacker would be sitting there. Never saw him.
Now they served it on a silver platter for this Florida State offense. Freeman to the 15-yard line. The disappointment, the redshirt freshman Andrew Hendricks. Remember, he came in against Stanford, played fairly well, impressed some. Many thought perhaps Reese wouldn't get the start, but got the support of Kelly early on. Hendricks has platoon tonight, but will this cost them here? 2nd and 7. Freeman remains the back with Manuel. Plenty of time to the end zone. Caught for the score.
Wow, what a catch.
Rashad Green, and the Noles have come all the way back.
What confidence, because Green did not even look like he was open. He's got 3 guys around him, and that ball's put up over Fox. Fox had his back turned. Green, what a tremendous catch. And now they're chasing the 2 points. Now they're chasing the 2. They're going for 2 again.
Remember, failed 2-point conversion on their last score. So now only up by 1.
Yep.
Play clock running down. They're trying to make this a 3-point margin with the lead. Manuel. They pick up the pressure, trying to run it himself, and they get to him. That was Jamora Slaughter, so another failed 2-point conversion.
Now, you know what the critic and the cynic says? You just kick the PATs, you are up by 3 instead of 1. But how about the Green catch? The back of the end zone, a tough throw. He comes up with it, and now Florida State back on top, all the way back in this ball game.
This Florida State offense just sleepwalked for 3 quarters through this Champs Sports Bowl. But this 4th quarter has been electric with their comeback. 2 tremendous touchdown catches. First by Burt Reed, the most recent by Rashad Green. From the arm of EJ Manuel. Couple failed 2-point conversions. And we have a 15-14 Florida State lead. Glad you're with us. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, Holly Rowe here in Orlando. Short kick fielded and bobbled, and then downed at the 20. Both teams very hungry for a win tonight and momentum heading into next year with the foundation of good recruiting classes and tradition-rich programs with high expectations. Downfield, and wide open is Eifert. And just like that, Notre Dame crosses midfield.
They had him in a stacked position out to the left side with Floyd. He went inside, Floyd went outside, and that opened it up. Tommy Reese back in the game, on target, and this time he throws it over the head.
Now he swings it to Riddick, and not much there at all, as that speedy Noles defense was able to close on it with Jenkins and Mike Harris.
Just keep in mind, we talked about the corner situation for Florida State. They've lost a couple of guys, a couple of key guys in Reed and Rhodes. And Notre Dame should be taking advantage of those backups that are in there now.
2nd and 10, empty backfield for Reese. Pressure, and they smother him. Cornelius Carradine.
They just roll pass rusher after pass rusher after you. Warner, Jenkins, Dawkins, Carradine. It's quickness, athleticism. Carradine comes in from the right side, unblocked.
4 sacks tonight for the Florida State front. And now a 3rd and 17. Reese, pressure again. He escapes it, floats it, and that was batted away. Nigel Bradham, who had the interception moments ago, defends that pass. The pressure initially came from Jenkins.
Brian Kelly has to be frustrated with his quarterbacks throwing the football away. But check out pressure. Left side, you have got to protect your quarterback. And look what Jenkins does. He just blows right through their best tackle, Zach Martin. Ate him alive and put pressure on Tommy Reese.
So Turk on to punt. Rashad Green, who had that spectacular touchdown catch, the fair catch this time, at about the 17-yard line. Remember, Florida State with 4 freshmen on their offensive line, but they've gotten through recently with the passing game. Freeman, now they go to the run. So can they now handle a 1-point lead here in the 4th quarter and bring down that clock a bit and advance the ball on the ground? They only had 12 rushing yards before this drive.
Well, you know, they've moved the football by running Manuel and also by throwing the ball. And Manuel looks like he's limping a little bit now. But using the ground attack with the running backs has not been effective for Florida State tonight.
8 of 9 here in the 2nd half. There's been more action in the last 5 minutes of this game than in the previous 3 quarters. 2nd and 10. The screen, the receiver coming across the middle is Green, but he is stacked up right away at the 38-yard line by Teo and Slaughter.
Manti Teo said that millions don't buy you the memories. Similar sentiments from Matt Barkley, coming back so that USC has a chance to play in a bowl game next season. He can be a part of something special. Andrew Luck did that last season, come back for Stanford this year. Similar reasons. Nothing like finishing with the class you came in with.
3rd and 6. Can they stay on the field, keep milking this clock, or will Notre Dame get a chance here? They picked up the pressure downfield, and that is caught on his back. What do they say?
Oh, you know, it bounced off of Green, and then on his back, he caught it.
They're talking it over, and it's a catch. They are ruling that a reception.
Has he made more spectacular plays than anybody else in this 2nd half?
Unbelievable concentration to stay with this ball.
We talked about his becoming a star. Watch it. He has possession. That one loses it, comes out. He's inbounds, and now he has the ball.
His left shoulder starts to skirt up against the white there.
Great speed and really, really good hands. He is on his way to becoming a big-time player at Florida State.
Just a freshman. And now Florida State looking to add to that lead. Create a cushion. That ball was off the fingers of Green after lauding him so much.
Yeah. Well, you know, the game plan for Florida State coming in entirely was to use their speed and throw the football. But look what they did in the 1st half. They couldn't do much because they couldn't protect the quarterback. They've done a better job in the 2nd half. They've been able to use the game plan, get their receivers and their superior speed outside on the corners and safeties, and come up with some big plays. It all starts up front. You don't take care of the quarterback, you got no chance of throwing the football.
Rodney Smith and Kenny Shaw here on 2nd and 10 for EJ Manuel, the junior quarterback who has sparked things here. They go to the inside handoff just short of the 10-yard line was Devontae Freeman.
You know, the dilemma for Notre Dame is that trying to go to the blitz is a problem now because they know they can't match up on the back end against the 3-4 receivers of Florida State with their superior speed.
Here's your 3rd and 2.
They've converted their last 3.
To the end zone and well beyond Kenny Shaw. So on trots Dustin Hopkins, one of the more talented place kickers in the country. Big leg. Good marks for accuracy made from 42 earlier this evening. This from just 29 yards out to try to push the margin to 4. And he splits them. (18-14). Florida State now.
18, Notre Dame 14.
18 unanswered points by Florida State. Tremendous efforts by the wide receivers. Look at those gold shoes by Hopkins. Puts a new coat of gold spray paint on his shoes every week.
I like it. I also like the Notre Dame shoes. They've gone with the tri-colored shoes, and they also have jerseys with their names on the back that they'll give to the players after the game.
That's an old tradition that goes back to Eric Parsegian back in the 70s, so that the guys can take their bowl jerseys home with them with their names on them. You won't see that during the regular season. Here's Atkinson the third, and he is torn down at the 15.
How much confidence does Kelly have in his quarterbacks right now?
Tommy Reese, they've platooned all night. Reese with time down the field. What a catch by Eifert.
He's taking some shots.
Terrence Brooks got to him there. Well, look at Tyler Eifert, the 6'6" tight end, go up for this.
Yeah, he gets a free release, and then there's no one behind him. He picks up 22 yards on this one. We've seen this play a couple of times. We'll probably see it again until Florida State adjusts to it.
Play action. Downfield, Toma overthrown. Let's check in with Holly on Michael Floyd.
Well, guys, after those 2 big collisions, one on that circus touchdown catch that Michael Floyd had, he's been coming over the sideline and really grimacing in pain, trying to stretch out what looks like his left hip flexor or the back of his leg. He sees like it's very painful, but he's continuing to try to play, but he just hasn't been the same in this game. We haven't seen him running some explosive routes since we saw that big collision.
Now here's the first hit that he took over on the sideline. Jordan came over and got him.
2nd and 10. They try the counter with Wood, and he is chopped down by Mike Harris.
You know, now on this 3rd down, if you're Florida State, you think in terms of taking away Eifert. What a tremendous play here. See, Harris is to the right side. Jenkins over there. Harris comes in and makes the tackle. But now on this big 3rd down, you want to make sure that number 80 doesn't beat you, that you take him away. Michael Floyd isn't out there. If you're Florida State, you roll your coverage to 80. You make somebody else make a catch.
Getting loud here in Orlando. 3rd and 15. They need to get to the 40. Reese throws short to midfield to Eifert. So it'll be 4th down at midfield. Christian Jones stuck Eifert.
They had no other options, and Kelly is not happy about that. You know, why are you going there in that situation? There's nothing there. He wanted a chance to have a 4th down or to pick up that 1st down there. But that's a throwaway play. That's what he's telling him now.
He threw underneath, 10 yards short of the line to make on 3rd and 15. And Turk on to punt. Rashad Green is going to start his 4th quarter. Back for the return. Balls for the fair catch. It bounces inside the 5. Special teams play. They bat it around and they down it inside the 1-yard line. Ryan Cavanaugh with a great play on special teams. There's number 50 coming right off the field. Look at this effort.
Nicely done. How about Mata at the end, waiting there to come up with the ball and save this and pin Florida State.
Two traditional powers looking to get back, meeting up here tonight in the Champs Sports Bowl. And this fourth quarter has been filled with intrigue. Florida State pinned. Freeman looking for space out to the 3-yard line. Big night here in Orlando. A sellout, over 68,000 to see Florida State and Notre Dame. Glad you're with us. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, Holly Rowe. We're going to lead you right up to RG3, the Heisman Trophy winner in the Valero Alamo Bowl with Baylor and Washington. But for now, the big story is the comeback of Florida State. 18 unanswered. Coming alive is Jimbo Fisher's squad here in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame's defensive front, they've been solid all year long. They could use a big play and a stop right here and give their offense good field position. Freeman, boy, they just got to him. Good effort by Lewis Nix and Dan Fox.
Nix is a big force inside. You'll see him show up here right in the middle, number 9. All 330 pounds of him. Just dismisses the center and gets in there. Big third down now.
Sellout here in the Champs Sports Bowl. You got folks up on the ramp standing, waiting to see how this one plays out. A big 3rd and 8. EJ Manuel from his own end zone in the shotgun. Sprints to the far side, pressure from the backside, launches it, and it's incomplete. They're going to be punting from the end zone.
Tells you how big that special teams play was to down the ball inside the 2-yard line. They moved the launch point. They moved Manuel away from the pressure. They knew it was coming there, but Dan Fox applied the pressure. You'll see him coming. They moved away from him, but he kept on coming and forced Manuel to get rid of it, as Stephon Tuitt was also there to take a shot.
Remember, Sean Powell, the Florida State punter, number 1 in the country, 47 yards overall punting. John Goodman, and this is a bad one. It dribbles past the 35, just past the 40. A flag is down. We will check on that.
During the kick, personal foul, face mask, kicking team, number 13. 15 yards will be added to the end of the kick. First down.
I mean, they're just teeing this thing up now for Brian Kelly's offense.
Yeah, if that's 13, he's got Nigel Bradham, the starting linebacker, on that one.
There's plenty of noise here. Florida State supporters looking for their defense to step up. Reese gets it to Toma, looking for a block, cuts to the corner, and then lowers his shoulder inside to the 24-yard line. Here's Holly.
Guys, you'll notice Michael Floyd not on the field for Notre Dame. I saw medical personnel go up to him and say, what happened? And he made a motion like he'd gotten punched somehow in the stomach. He's on the sideline. He's got his helmet on. I'm not sure if he can return, guys. It looks like he's trying to shake it off.
Had a sensational juggling catch to give them a 2-touchdown lead, but we haven't seen him since do much of anything. And now out of the game as Wood takes it to the 18-yard line.
Well, not having Floyd is a big, big loss. He dictates everything for that offense.
They move the chains here. 3.5 minutes to play, Rod. Notre Dame looking for the go-ahead score.
Well, they're looking for somebody to step up and make a play in place of Floyd. And Eifert's going to get a lot of attention down here.
1st and 20 after the call. To the end zone. Intercepted. Terrence Brooks picks off Tommy Reese. Reese with another interception in the end zone.
Yeah, you don't have Michael Floyd. You can't throw into double coverage and expect. He tries to go to Goodman. Goodman is 6'3", but he's not Michael Floyd. And Terrence Brooks is able to get up and take this one away. You know, when you have a chance to put points on the board, you have to be careful with the football. And this has been the issue for Tommy Reese all season long.
It started week 1 against South Florida. 5 turnovers that day. A pair of first-half turnovers inside South Florida's 10-yard line. It continued at Michigan. And then they look to straighten things out, but it bites them here tonight in the bowl game. Devontae Freeman stacked up that time by Harrison Smith.
Now, if you're Notre Dame, what you tell your defense is, look, they haven't run the football on us all night. We're going to play to stop them from running the ball now, and we'll get the ball back for the offense. There's plenty of time.
For now, needs to be a big moment for the Notre Dame defense. Freeman on 2nd and 8. He breaks free, and he gets the first down.
Wow.
The true freshman from Miami, as Brian Kelly can only look on and hope for one last chance for his offense.
Yeah, that offensive line got it done. But if you're Brian Kelly, think about Notre Dame quarterback situation. There have been a few great ones, but by and large, it's been a pretty transient place. 21 prospects, 9 transferred, position changes 5 times. Currently, they have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. One of them that was recruited actually changed positions.
Those are the recruits since '94, the year after these two teams met in the game of the last century. Here's Freeman again, this time nothing doing, stacked up at the line of scrimmage by Gary Gray and Carlo Calabrese. And a timeout, the final timeout called by Notre Dame. EJ Manuel, Jimbo Fisher. Remember, this was a year full of high expectations, and for Notre Dame, of course, the expectations are always so high. So heading into 2012, some of the storylines to look for.
You know, I think eventually they'll get the offense settled, and I think their defense is going to be fine. The real key is, will they find guys who can play corner in the secondary so that they can be more aggressive on defense? To me, that's the big issue for Notre Dame.
Well, they got a early enrollee coming with a commitment from T. Shepard, the #1 quarterback recruit in the country from Fresno. This is a good hard run that time by Devontae Freeman. All of a sudden, these young offensive linemen for Florida State, who struggled so mightily in the first half, are drive blocking well here, looking to close out this game.
Yeah, hey, they were top recruits, all those guys on that offensive line. But just, you know, we're talking about Notre Dame in next season. There's a chance that they could be better next year, but not have a better record when you look at that schedule as you evaluate teams right now. And that's a tough road. You know, Michigan State, Michigan back-to-back, Miami, Stanford, USC at the end.
And now Devontae Freeman is trying to work here on 3rd and 1, but comes up short as the clock heads under a minute. Notre Dame without a timeout.
How about Florida State's ability to find a running attack to salt away the game late here as we look at their storylines for next year? This team, if they're healthy, they're sitting pretty next year.
You know, people love them this year. They were preseason #6 in the country. They're going to be facing a 4th and 2 here as Notre Dame, and the clock counts down to under 35 seconds, looking for that one last chance. Theo Riddick is going to be back deep to return the punt. Remember, Michael Floyd, we haven't seen him. Got the report of the injury from Holly. Sean Powell, big leg punter. He lets it loose here and drives a good punt all the way inside the 10. Here's Riddick. A flag comes down as he was met at about the 10-yard line, leaving 13 seconds on the clock. There was a 77-yard kickoff return by Florida State that gave them a chance to first get on the board, and then the 4th quarter came along, and the offense found themselves. That is incomplete.
Goodman was setting up to pitch that ball back to a trailing receiver. Pretty typical play at this stage of a game.
They were looking for the lateral there, and now Andrew Hendricks trots on. Believe it or not, Goodman has the strongest arm on the team. The receiver who just dropped that pass, he was a high school quarterback, and he can launch it. Much bigger arm than Reese or Hendricks. Hendricks now is going to heave it downfield. And that falls incomplete with 1 second remaining. Rod, what's your big takeaway from what you've seen this evening?
I think Florida State could be setting up for something interesting next season, considering that they're playing so many freshmen growing up. They're going to have a top recruiting class next year. They had a season with a bunch of injuries. They've got a veteran quarterback next year. I think Florida State could really be something next season, and Notre Dame has a couple of issues to get resolved.
Look at the energy and enthusiasm. People talk about, do teams want to be in some of these bowl games? This Champs Bowl had a special feeling to it tonight. Last play, looking for a miracle. Toma laterals it, and that'll end it. The Champs Sports Bowl goes to the Seminoles with a fourth quarter rally. 18 unanswered points, and they defeat the Fighting Irish 18-14. Let's get down to Holly with Jimbo Fisher.
Well, Coach, how do you describe the way not only your offensive line, but Rashad Green, your freshman, everybody grew up so much in the second half?
Those freshmen grew up and they played a great game and had a great leader in EJ, who they kept people in. And like I said, they gave him enough time. He made plays. That freshman line, the freshman receivers, the backs, but that defense played great. Special teams, it was a great team effort. Happy as heck for our kids. We won't quit.
How does it propel you for next year, Coach?
Well, I think it gives us momentum. We had this momentum last year. Now we can just stay healthy in the year, and we can keep our injuries down, but we built a lot of depth. Just excited about where this program's going.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Big scene here in the fourth quarter for the Noles. Final score, Florida State 18, Notre Dame 14. Coming up next, it is the Heisman winner in the Valero Alamo Bowl. We're going to give you live coverage of the trophy ceremony if you log on to ESPN3. For Rod Gilmore, Holly Rowe, and our entire crew here in Orlando, I'm Joe Tessitore, wishing you a great night. We'll get you to San Antonio, but first, let's check in with the studio.